Across deserts and oceans, two worlds once thought impossibly distant collided in ways that reshaped history. Picture the sails of Chinese fleets meeting the bustling ports of East Africa, where spices, ivory, and stories changed hands. This is the forgotten tale of how medieval China and Africa first crossed paths, a story of ambition, trade, and cultural exchange that laid the foundation for a more connected world. In the heart of the 8th and 9th centuries, whispers of Africa reached the ears of Chinese scholars and merchants through the Silk Road and Arabian traders. Africa's gold, ivory, and exotic animals were treasures that stirred the imagination of emperors. At the same time, Africa received Chinese silk, porcelain, and advanced technologies that dazzled local rulers. But it was not only goods that traveled. Along with trade came stories, tales of lands rich with possibility, kingdoms unknown, and seas that tested the bravest sailors. The most famous encounters came centuries later, under the command of Admiral Zheng He during the early 15th century. With fleets of enormous treasure ships, Zheng He sailed across the Indian Ocean, reaching as far as the Swahili Coast of Africa. These expeditions were more than journeys, they were diplomatic missions of power and prestige. The Chinese brought gifts of silk and porcelain, and in return, they marveled at giraffes, zebras, and other African animals never before seen in the East. One giraffe, gifted to the Ming Emperor, was hailed as a mythical qilin, a sign of divine blessing. But beyond trade and diplomacy, ideas traveled between these worlds. Chinese records began documenting African societies, while African oral traditions recalled the arrival of foreign ships. These encounters influenced art, architecture, and even local governance in some coastal regions. It was a meeting of civilizations where knowledge, curiosity, and respect intertwined, an early example of globalization centuries before the modern age. Yet these connections were not without challenges. Long voyages across dangerous seas, political rivalries at home, and shifting priorities eventually slowed the contact. By the mid-15th century, the Ming dynasty turned inward, ending the great voyages. Africa and China would not see such grand exchanges again for centuries. Though the fleets vanished, the legacy remained. Porcelain shards in African archaeological sites, records of African envoys in Chinese courts, and myths of distant lands all tell us that Africa and China once touched across vast oceans. Their story is a reminder that history is never confined by borders. It stretches, sails, and connects across the world. This forgotten chapter of history shows us how cultures thrive when they meet, exchange, and learn from one another. If stories like this spark your curiosity, don't let them fade into obscurity. Subscribe for more untold histories and share this video with others. And join us in uncovering the hidden threads that bind our world together.